We welcome you on a beautiful Saturday night in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The State Fair is going on. Big crowd filing into Miller Park. And it is the Brewers and the Nationals' second game of this three-game series. And it's just a quick three-game homestand. Brewers are headed to San Francisco after tomorrow afternoon's game. There's Jonathan Lucroy. He turned in a very hot month of July, hit 7 home runs. And he's back at it again. Had a home run last night in his first game in August. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Brian Anderson. Great to have you with us tonight. We've got a great night for baseball, and the Brewers trying to get back to winning ways here after a couple of losses in a row, and they're going to give the ball to Donovan Hand. Now, this guy hasn't been a full-time starter since 2009 in Double-A, and he's doing a very good job here in the big leagues right now.
He's pitching like a guy that has been starting a long time because he's a lot of confidence in his stuff. I mean, that's the one thing you can say about Donovan. Not afraid to throw strikes. He doesn't have overpowering stuff, but what he does, he attacks the strike zone. He pitched 6 innings in his last time out against Colorado. That's the most that he has pitched since 2009 down in Double-A. So Donovan Hand certainly taking advantage of opportunities. You can see the splits pretty similar in relief, and as his starter, one problem that he had in his last start, giving up home runs. He gave up 3 home runs to the Rockies his last time out.
And you know what's impressive about Hand? His numbers in the big leagues very similar to his numbers in the minor leagues. This guy has always been able to get outs, and now he's getting his chance as a starter in the big leagues. We're going to talk base running when we come back. Who better to do that than Davey Nelson? He's standing by with Craig Deshawn. More coming up from Miller Park after this.
Wisconsin is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Going to pack it into Miller Park here tonight. Gorgeous night for baseball. The Brewers are set for the Nationals. Game 2 of their weekend series. Greg and Davey back on board with you here on Fox Sports Wisconsin, and the Brewers lead the league in stolen bases with 100. Carlos Gomez had a couple in last night's game. He also got caught trying to steal third base as well. But for the most part, you talk about Jean Segura, you talk about Gomez, and you talk about Aoki all being among the National League leaders in stolen bases.
That's right, and then in the lead in stolen bases. Here's what it does. It scores runs for you. They get themselves in position to score runs, as we've seen with Gomez and Aoki and with Segura. They do an outstanding job being aggressive on the bases to be able to steal a base and make things happen. And, you know, especially if the Brewers are just down by a few runs, these guys, they get on base, they score, they get you stole a base, get you right back in the ballgame.
And there's a reason why all three of these players are in the top half of the Brewer batting order. They get out and run, they can steal the bases, and Aoki, very capable of getting to third as well. Gomez got thrown out there yesterday, but the Brewers and the Nats are all set for Game 2 of their series. It's all coming up next year on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
At Miller Park, 72 beautiful degrees. Clear skies up above. Roof is wide open. Got a big crowd filing in, and we are all set for Milwaukee Brewers baseball tonight. Now Davey Johnson and the Washington Nationals trying to get their season turned around. Washington coming in at 53 and 56, and the reigning manager of the year in the National League, Davey Johnson, puts his batting order out today. Looks a lot like last night. It's brought to you by Piggly Wiggly. Span, Harper, and Zimmerman at the top. Worth, LaRoche, and Desmond in the middle of the order, with Rendon, Ramos, and Herron rounding it out. Same 8 position players. A little bit of a change in the order with Span leading off. And Rock, it'll be Donovan Hand on the mound once again.
Yeah, making start number 5 this year. 18th appearance for the season for Donovan. Got an 0-2 record this year, and he's only walked 5 batters in his 5 starts. Last time out against Colorado, 3 runs and a no decision in 6 innings at work, the longest that he's been able to go since 2009 when he was in Double-A, making his 2nd start this year against Washington. Let's check out the Menards Brewers defense. A couple of changes defensively for Ron Renneke. You got Chris Davis out in left field. He's getting a start in left. You need Betancourt over at first base. It was Francisco out there last night. Jonathan Lucroy behind home plate, and he will be catching Donovan Hand tonight.
Now Betancourt has great numbers against Hand's mound opponent tonight, Dan Herron. And he handles the first base duties this evening. There are the 4 umpires. Chris Conroy calling the balls and strikes. That's Gary Darling. He's the crew chief tonight. Gary Darling, David Rackley, and Jerry Meals, the base umpires. Well, the Brewers keep plowing through their rotation. Tom Gorzolani injured yesterday. Gallardo was put on the disabled list earlier this week. Donovan Hand was an emergency starter just a few weeks ago, and he has continued to pitch well, and he continues to get his spot in the rotation. So as Milwaukee just plows deeper and deeper into their starting pitching ranks, the opportunity is open for many, and you'd have to say Donovan Hand has made the most of it.
Yeah, he's done well, and you know, he was not limited to any injuries either. I mean, San Diego on the 23rd of July, it was up there to bunt. He got hit in the hand, and you know, he has battled through that. But you're right. I mean, he has taken the opportunity. He's throwing the baseball with a lot of confidence.
He's still looking for his first major league win. Span takes a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Denard Span.
Well, the sinker baller Donovan Hand, anytime you have a guy that throws a sinker, doesn't have a very long stride. You can see pretty much throws straight up, and that gives him that natural sink with that fastball.
And he has very good command on the inner half of the plate, and when he throws strikes in there, be it a right-handed hitter or a left-handed hitter, he obviously becomes much more effective and has to have that inside part of the plate. You see that 4-inning start against the Padres. That was the game where he was hit in the hand by a pitched ball, and so although he pitched 1 more inning, he really wasn't the same that next inning. Gave up a couple of earned runs, and it was a short start for him. So this is his 2nd start since coming back from the injury, and you can imagine that his between starts routine was disrupted a great deal from his start to San Diego until his last start in Colorado. So things are back to normal for him now, and the Brewers are hoping for a successful start from Donovan Hand, matching up, Rock, against the team that is one of the worst teams in the National League producing runs. Hard to believe with the firepower they have in their batting order, but it's been a real struggle for the Nationals to score.
Yeah, and a lot of the big names, I mean, they were hurt quite a bit. I mean, a lot of guys were on a disabled list early in the season, but they are starting to get healthy. Davey Johnson very disappointed in the offense. They still have a very good pitching staff.
Little jam shot. Segura coming in, got to hurry, bare hands, and makes a nice play. A good way to get the night started on a defensive gem by Gene Segura.
Well, you got to be quick with that baseball. With Denard Span running, he can scoot very fast, but Segura able to get him easily on the bare hand pickup.
So that'll bring up Bryce Harper, who homered last night. Harper hit leadoff last night. He was 2 for 5, drove in 2 runs. Denard Span hitting down in the order last night. He was hitting 7th. And the way Davey Johnson has it lined up right now, with Span leading off and then Harper in the 2-hole in front of Zimmerman, is the way we saw the Nationals a month ago, and that was typically their lineup when Harper has been healthy. And he's dealt with a knee injury this year, slamming into a couple of different walls, one in Philadelphia and one in Los Angeles. Has 16 home runs, 37 runs batted in, Bryce Harper, and now a 2-time All-Star at the age of 20.
Yeah, 20 years old, and nicked with some injuries, but when you're that young, you recover quickly. And boy, he hit a blast last night off of Burke Badenhop up into the 2nd deck in right field.
That one's in the air to left, playable for Chris Davis, getting the start tonight, and he's got it for out number 2. Two up, 2 down for Hand, and here is Ryan Zimmerman. Zimmerman had a hit last night. Nationals won 4-1. Jordan Zimmerman, no relation to Ryan, the Wisconsin native, picked up his 4th win against Milwaukee in his career. He's now 4-0, and the victory by Jordan Zimmerman moved him to 13-6. Figueroa took the loss. He dropped to 1-3, although he came in, did a terrific job after the injury to Gorzolani, went 4 innings. There's not much offense for the Brewers last night. They combined for only 5 hits, and the lone run was a home run by Jonathan Lucroy in the bottom of the 8th inning. That was it offensively.
Yeah, the Brewers had to use 5 different relievers in last night's ball game, and certainly that's going to have an impact on the rest of this series and going forward into that West Coast road trip. Just goes to show you, it just goes to figure, right? A day off, and then you use 5 relievers in one game.
Just when Roenicke had his bullpen all set up the way he wanted to, immediately wiped out. And if not for the 4 innings by Alfredo Figueroa, the Brewers would be in a very desperate position here tonight.
Yeah, the slider, the curveball for Donovan Hand have been very good. That slow curveball in the low 70s. He's got the slider that has a good late break on it. Going to come inside with the fastball.
Hit hard, but right at Segura. And Zimmerman retired, and a good start for Donovan Hand. Weeks, Aoki, Segura coming up. Coming up, and skipper Ron Roenicke trying to get his club back in the winner's circle after a couple of losses in a row. They dropped their final game in Chicago on Wednesday and then lost last night. Roenicke has Weeks back at the top of the order with Aoki to follow, and then Segura. Middle of the order is Lucroy Gomez and Chris Davis. Bianchi, Betancourt, and Hand rounded out. The batting order brought to you by Piggly Wiggly.
Now the veteran right-hander Dan Herron on the mound for Washington. You see his numbers. It has not been a very good year. ERA at about 5.5. Those 21 home runs lead the National League. He's given up more home runs than any starting pitcher in the NL. But look at the walk to strikeout ratio. Incredible, 5-1 just about for Dan Herron.
Herron used to be one of the elite pitchers in the game, one of the great workhorse pitchers in the game. Has not been that way over the last couple of seasons. Had some shoulder tightness that landed him on the disabled list earlier this year. Went on the DL June 23rd. He came back just before the All-Star break. He is 32 years of age now. He'll be 33 in September. And a 3-time All-Star, pitching for his 5th organization, the Nationals.
He only had good years with the A's and the Diamondbacks, and it's been a rough season for him.
Ricky Weeks coming in batting .215, 10 homers. He had 2 hits last night. And that ball's kissed into left field. It's going to be another extra base hit. Ricky Weeks into second, and he starts tonight's game just like he did last night.
Now it's a breaking ball by Herron, who's got a slider. He'll throw a split-fingered fastball. Looked like Ricky picked on a hanging slider and ripped it down the line. Man, Rickey started the game last night with a double down the line in right field. Tonight it's down the left field line.
And his last 3 hits are doubles in this series. And there he is with nobody out to start the first for Nori Aoki. And Aoki gets a bunt down, rolling foul. Well, Dan Haren is coming off one of his better starts of the year. He gave up just 3 hits in 7 innings against the Mets. Rock, this was on the 27th of July.
Yeah, he did pitch well, and one of the few times that he's really had a good outing. He went 12 consecutive starts without a win. And before that win against the Mets, his last win was May 9th, and that was against the Detroit Tigers at home in Washington.
Yeah, he hasn't won back-to-back starts since that game in early May. Aoki bunts it fair. Heron's only play is first, and he just does get him. So a sacrifice bunt will advance Ricky Weeks. That's the 7th sacrifice for Aoki. As you take a look at the Nationals defense, brought to you by Menard. Same group of 8 that we saw yesterday, with Harper, Span, and Worth in the outfield. Zimmerman, Desmond, Rendon, and LaRoche around the horn, and Wilson Ramos doing the catching.
Yeah, the Gold Glover Ryan Zimmerman with 17 errors on the season. It's been a rough year for him defensively. He's having a very difficult time throwing the baseball.
And he had an error yesterday, a throwing error, and that's where most of his E's are coming these days. So here's Segura with Weeks at third base. Segura at 317 coming in. He was 1 for 3 last night. Drew a walk. Currently 6th in the National League in batting. The league leader in the National League is Chris Johnson of the Atlanta Braves, hitting 347. And you got a couple of Cardinals in the top 5. Yadier Molina and Alan Craig. Michael Kadire is in there. Joey Votto is just ahead of Segura. And Segura is 6th, just ahead of Buster Posey. And he's been able to maintain a batting average that has kept him around the top 5 in the league in hitting for the good part of the season.
Now the Nationals have the infield back. They're conceding a run, so a good guy to have at the plate. Gene Segura normally makes pretty good contact. Brewers last night 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Need to pick this one up.
In 4 of the first 5 innings, the Brewers had a runner at least at second base and could not drive him in. And Segura strikes out. Well, these are the kind of at-bats that are just mounting up. You even take a good hitter like Segura, who rarely strikes out. Haren gets the K after the sacrifice bunt, and now 2 men are out. It's almost a carbon copy of last night. Well, Lucroy went deep last night. The only run of the game for the Brewers. That was an 8th inning home run by Jonathan Lucroy. Powerball home run number 16 for the catcher.
Got Tyler Clifford in the 8th.
Lucroy had a great month of July. The Brewers player of the month, hit 7 home runs in the month of July. And in his first game in August, he delivers with the home run. Brewers actually brought the tying run to the plate last inning, or yesterday I should say, in the last inning. I beg your pardon, in the 8th inning, and then Soriano closed the door in the 9th.
Well, I saw the Nationals try to pitch around Lucroy a couple of different times last night, thinking that as hot as he is, as good a July that he was able to put together, they'd rather go after Gomez in these situations. 2-0 count to Lucroy.
Haren not blessed with the big fastball that he once had. He used to pitch in the low to mid 90s with that fastball. Still throws that split finger fastball, which is a strikeout pitch for him. And that might have been in right there, and it drops in for a strike. 2-2.
And not much of a speed differential with Herrin. I mean, he throws the fastball at about 89. I mean, that's about what he's going to give you. Slider in the mid 80s, and then you have the splitter here at 82 miles an hour. So you're talking about 7 miles an hour difference is all hitters are going to see tonight.
Oh, it didn't miss by much. Herrin basically uses the splitter, probably better phrased as the forkball, the old-fashioned forkball. It's the same grip, same idea, but the forkball was used as a change of pace, and that's the way Herrin uses that pitch. Full count, 2 outs, and Lucroy out in front, pops it foul and out of play.
I'm not quite sure what the difference is between a forkball and a splitter. There's not a whole lot of difference other than the velocity on it. Herrin at 82 miles an hour. A lot of guys are going to throw their split-fingered fastball, 88, 89, 91 miles an hour, something like that. But because he doesn't have much velocity on it, I guess that's why they call it the forkball.
Forkball just sounds so old-fashioned. It's a lot more hip to call it a splitter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a splitter. As he walks Lucroy. He was going to make Lucroy chase, and he did not. And first and third with 2 outs. This is eerily similar to the way the Brewers started last night's game. Zimmerman pitched around Lucroy to get to a first and third scenario with 2 outs.
Yep, double, 2 outs, a walk to Lucroy. Gomez came up in last night in the first inning. Let's see if there's a different result tonight.
The always talkative Carlos Gomez. Very animated Carlos Gomez. He is the club leader in home runs with 17. Gomez checks in batting .299. He was 0 for 2 yesterday with a couple of walks.
There's that fork ball. Got it over for a strike. I think Herrin throws his fork ball, split, whatever you want to call it, more for strikes than any guy that throws that pitch. There's another one.
Well, Gomez out in front of it, fouls it back. And it's quickly a ball and 2 strikes on Carlos. An all-star for the first time this year. Ian Segura representing the Brewers and the National League at the All-Star game. 1-2, and it's down in the dirt. Nationals retired an order by hand in the first. Brewers putting up a threat here in the bottom of the first. Weeks doubled. He's over at third. Going to go back to the forkball here. 2-2, and Gomez a little out in front. One more game tomorrow. It's a quick 3-game homestand. Brewers are right back on the road in the middle of this stretch where 16 of 19 are away from Miller Park. Gomez hits it sharply right at Desmond for the out, and the Brewers come up empty in the first. Strand a pair. Today looks like Tom Gorzelanny is going to have to miss his next start. This was last night as Gorzelanny started his second inning, and it was a line drive right back to the mound off the bat of Jason Worth, and it hit Gorzelanny in the worst spot, right on the bone of his elbow, and he is going to probably miss one start. We check in with Sophia for more on Gorzelanny.
Well, Brian, Gorzelanny last night very frustrated. He felt really good in the first inning, and he knew the stress it was putting on the bullpen. He said he'd been hit several times, but never a direct shot like that to the elbow. Just how hard did it hit him? Well, he had seam marks on his elbow today. Ron Roenicke saying that he was very swollen, and that start for Wednesday is definitely a question mark. So things are getting very complicated. As far as Gorzelanny going on the disabled list, Ron said if it appeared likely he would miss the second start, then that's the move they would make. So the scramble continues for Ron Roenicke this season with his starting rotation.
Well, it really is, as Worth drops one into right center and continues his hitting ways. Worth knocking Gorzelanny out yesterday. That was one of his 3 hits in yesterday's game. And Gallardo's already on the disabled list, so you can always backdate the DL trip for Gorzelanny if he's unable to make that second start. And the Brewers will know a lot more when the swelling goes down.
Yeah, in a couple of days. I mean, a lot of that's going to be determined in a couple of days. And in the meantime, they have to think about who potentially could take that spot in the rotation that's coming up. Hellwig, maybe Chris Narveson, who knows? Maybe some others that are up for consideration.
Well, it's just been one of those years. And, of course, the Brewers have put so many players on the disabled list and are so deep into their starting rotation depth right now. These are some of the names that come up. Now, this is just our list. We're taking as much of a guess as you would be at home, but based on what's happened recently. Now, Chris Narveson, the interesting note about him, he is not on the roster, the Major League roster, any longer, so you have some options there.
And Thornburg's already in the rotation. He's taken Giovanni's spot. So you have Marco Estrada, who's on a minor league rehab. He pitched yesterday down in the minor leagues. He threw about 47 pitches. His next time out, 5 days from his last start, and looking to go 60. So I don't think it perhaps could be Estrada at this point, but we'll see.
And Thornburg's already in, so that means your long man, your long reliever's already in the rotation for Gallardo. And so the reason Thornburg is on that list in our mind is you could bump Thornburg back. I mean, you could do some things with him if you did need to go down to the minor leagues to pick up a starter. And you're looking at a guy like Johnny Hellwig, who's been pitching very well since returning to AAA. His spot is due up tomorrow, I believe. So I guess we'll know more if Hellwig pitches in Nashville tomorrow or not, or for Nashville. It's been one of those years, though, hasn't it, for Ron Roenicke and Rick Kranitz as they scramble for pitching and trying to put the pieces in place. And even the pitchers that are replacing the injured pitchers are getting injured now.
And position players, too, getting hurt. You know, you got a lot of problems with the position players, too, with Corey Hart. You got Ramirez. Braun's gone. It's just been one thing after another. You know, whoever takes Gorzelanny's spot in the rotation, that will be the 11th different starting pitcher that the Brewers have used this year. Wasn't that long ago they only used 6 all season long.
Yeah, that was the division championship season of 2011. And last year the Reds won the title in the division. Cincinnati used 5 starting pitchers the entire season.
Yeah, it's usually the healthiest teams that end up doing the best.
Adam LaRoche takes a ball down and away. 2-2 the count on LaRoche. Now the Brewers don't expect Gallardo to be on the disabled list longer than his 15-day stint lasts. So we're talking 2 weeks in a day, and he should be right back in there. And I would imagine he'd be ready to go once again. He left with a hamstring injury, so that's a little bit different than Gorzelanny in that Gallardo can still do things to maintain his arm strength, to continue what he's already built up as a starting pitcher all season. Gorzelanny's just going to have to shut it down for a while from throwing. That's the problem with the elbow.
Well, even with Gallardo with that hamstring issue, I mean, he can't do a whole lot. I mean, he can do some light tossing and But he did hurt that hamstring making a pitch, so that delivery, the motion making the delivery is what's going to give him some problems. So I don't think the Brewers are expecting Gallardo to be on that disabled list very long. Maybe the 15 days is it.
Well, in the meantime, you throw out who you can and see what happens. And in the case of Donovan Hand, hopefully you can see something that might motivate you moving forward. You know, Donovan Hand has always pitched well in the minor leagues, but he's never been thought of as a prospect necessarily. Kind of been a fringe guy that kept putting up the numbers, and when it was his turn, because he had such good success, he got the call. Word takes off. That'll keep him out of a double play as LaRoche bounces out for the first out of the inning. Brewers are also hoping to improve on the position player front. Sophia, what's the latest on Aramis Ramirez?
Well, Ron Renneke said yesterday that he continues to get closer to coming back. Right now it's just hard to predict, so he continues to take batting practice, do some light running on the field. He said right now it's just managing the pain in that patella tendon. Where he is struggling right now is making that first step when he's running and then also stopping. He said it's when you put the load on that knee that leads to the soreness and the pain. So right now it's just a matter of getting to a point where he can play through that pain and not have as much soreness as what he's been dealing with.
Yeah, thanks, Sophia. That's the second stint on the DL for Aramis Ramirez, and he also injured that same knee in spring training. So we're talking basically the third round with the knee injury, twice on the DL this year.
There's really no sense of urgency to rush him back anyway. I mean, you don't want to do anything or bring him back too soon and risk having that be a problem for him next year.
Ramirez under contract for one more season with the Brewers. There's a lot of talk about Ramirez possibly as a trade piece, but because of the injury, there is no chance at that. Here's Ian Desmond, and misses away. 1 ball, 1 strike to the National shortstop, an all-star last year for the first time. Jason Worth at second with 1 away. And that one's on the corner. Well-placed fastball from Donovan Hand.
Man, Desmond with a tremendous month of June. I mean, he pretty much carried the Nationals offense on his back with a lot of players with nagging injuries on the disabled list. He's got the 16 home runs, not too bad out of a shortstop.
And especially considering their ballpark, Nationals Park is a very pitcher-friendly park. Desmond last season had 25 homers, had 33 doubles last year. He had 292, drove in 73 runs. He was the Silver Slugger Award winner, the award given to the best offensive player at a particular position. Best hitting shortstop in the National League, winning that award last year. A breakout season for him last year. Did he go? They will ask. No, he didn't. The crew chief says he checked his swing, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, Hand tried to elevate the fastball to get him to chase. Almost did. Able to hold up. Looked like he held up pretty close, but I think right call made. Gary Darling down there at first.
Worth at second, 2-2 the count, 1 out. And it goes full. Misfiring on a breaking ball, Donovan Hand.
And back-to-back full counts for Hand in this inning. Had a full count on Adam LaRoche, got him to ground out.
See what he has in mind here, 3-2. Tried the breaking ball again, and it's ball 4. So if you're a Nationals hitter and you're watching the first few sequences here, and the fact that Hand hasn't really been able to throw his breaking ball for a strike.
And a slider or curveball. I mean, that a tough position to be in out there when you don't throw very hard. But if you're Jonathan Lucroy back there, you just got to keep calling it. He'll find it.
Here's Anthony Rendon. He hit second last night, had a hit, drove in a run. Been mired in a long slump. Davey Johnson wanted to put him in the 2-hole. That's kind of the sweet spot for a hitter in most big league lineups, and usually struggling hitters get a chance to hit second if the manager feels like he wants to break him out of it. Hitting in front of a major league 3-hole hitter, and in this case it's Ryan Zimmerman. Tend to see a lot more strikes in the big leagues.
And the tendency is you don't want to walk the number 2 hitter to get the 3 and 4 hitters.
And that's why when you ask Gene Segura, how do you like hitting third? He says, no, I like hitting second. Changes the mentality of a hitter to be in that spot. But tonight Johnson drops Rendon back, hoping he has him jump started. Rendon hit .354 in his first 26 games in the big leagues. Runners go, and a strike called. No chance at an out. Huge jumps for both, and a double steal puts 2 into scoring position.
Yeah, Worth was tying him out the whole time he was out there. Remember, he was on second base. He's been there for a while. The entire at bat for Desmond. He walked a couple of, now three pitches to Rendon. Just timed him out. He kind of figured out when he was going to go home, took off, and Hand never looked back.
Rookie second baseman Anthony Rendon converted from third to second this season. He's got 2 out there in scoring position, and Hand delivers one. Aoki makes the catch. Throw coming home. 2 hops, 1 hop, and saved. Lucroy missed him.
They did.
Word slides in. Lucroy just whiffed on the tag. And the Nationals score a run. The throw is good enough for an out.
Yeah, that run courtesy of Jason Worth, a single, 2 stolen bases, and a good slide at home plate. And Lucroy went and got it. See Lucroy out in front of home plate, has to bring the tag back, and look where Jason Worth touches home plate on the back side of the bag, making that tag a little bit longer. Lucroy not blocking home plate. That's why Worth was able to get in there safely.
So the Nationals have the early lead on a sacrifice fly and an RBI by Rendon. Runner at third, Desmond, with 2 away for Wilson Ramos. You saw that reaction by Jason Worth. It's interesting to see that because the Nationals have been talking about some of the passion that they're bringing to the ballpark, and it was actually Bryce Harper who made mention of that on Wednesday, that this club is not playing as a family. They're not playing with that passion that they were last year when they were division champs. And even though we're in an early game in August, Jason Worth giving a little extra with that fist pump.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same group of guys, same mentality, just winning sheds a different light on everything. When you're losing and you're still going about your business the same way, you look like you don't have any passion, but I just don't see it. I mean, I played, I was in dugouts like that, and I don't know the Nationals ball club. Bryce Harper knows a lot better than I do, but Major League Baseball players, I don't know what passion is supposed to do for. I think everybody has it when they go down there on the field. I mean, sometimes teams look lifeless when they're not swinging the bat and they're not getting runners on base.
Well, certainly Saw some enthusiasm there from Jason Worth. And that ball is hit deep into center field. Gomez is back with room for the out, and the inning is over. But the Nats score first. Sac fly, RBI from Rendon, scoring Worth. A stolen base scored on a sac fly, and the Nationals have the early lead. Some baseball from earlier today. How about this finish in New York? This was a top of the 12th inning pinch hit home run by new acquisition Justin Maxwell. That's what the Royals traded for him to do. He hits a home run in the 12th, and the Royals are right in the picture for that second wild card spot. They are currently 4.5 back behind the Yankees and the Rangers and the Indians. Right now Baltimore occupies that second spot. Don't forget, from now on, starting last year, 2 wild card teams going to the postseason. They play a 1-game playoff, and then the division series starts. So how about the Royals playing great baseball and getting instant contributions after making a trade deadline deal with the Astros?
Yeah, I tell you, the Kansas City Royals look very good in spring training. I mean, they have a young pitching staff that, you know, they got some good arms, and you know, the offense was clicking along pretty good down there in Arizona. Got off to a little bit of a slow start, but boy, they're playing well now. Ned Yost has those guys playing well. George Brett, the new hitting coach. Maybe the Royals are responding a little bit to George Brett. Who knows?
And George Brett, spending a little over a month in that role, and back up in the front office now, and they say he had a great impact on some of their young hitters, specifically Mike Moustakas. But I think the bigger story with the Royals, the trades that they made in the offseason, you know, with the James Shields deal, picking up Santana as well, and trying to make moves to make their club better. And they took a real flyer on Justin Maxwell, who hit 18 home runs last year, but only had 2 home runs for the Astros this year. He didn't look like the same guy at all. He's been dealing with some injuries.
Wasn't playing every day either. And then the Brewers went into Houston this year. Of course, George Brett called it quits a couple of weeks ago, but a guy like that, Robin Yount, they stick around. They have long-lasting effects.
Well, Chris Davis back in the starting lineup tonight. Had a nice road trip. Had a 3-run home run at Wrigley Field. That was a big one late. A game-tying home run. Has 2 homers in the big leagues. They have both come to the opposite field. One here at Miller Park, and the other at Wrigley. Three and 2 on Davis.
Yeah, Dan Haren doesn't mess around inside too much, does he? Just about the same kind of a spray chart as far as a grouping of pitches to just about every hitter. He might come inside, but he's not going to come in there for a strike very often, not by design anyway.
He's thrown a lot of pitches early. That's any consolation. The Brewers are making him work. And Davis on a 2-strike pitch drops one into left field, a base hit. So work the count full and singles to start the second inning.
Hey, Brewer fans, tomorrow as the Brew Crew takes on the Nationals at 1:10 p.m. here at Miller Park, and all fans in attendance get a Harvey Keene bobblehead, compliments of Capco metal stamping. Visit Brewers.com for tickets. After the Harvey Keene bobblehead, only 2 more bobblehead giveaways this year.
Yeah, next up, a Gorman Thomas bobblehead. So Davis at first, a leadoff single. Here's Jeff Bianchi. Bianchi comes in batting .241. He started at third base last night. Was 0 for 4. Aaron falling behind already, 33 pitches as he works here in the second inning without an out in the second inning at this point.
Well, you can pretty much forget about the inner half of the plate with Dan Haren, can't you? Everything's away. There's one in.
And Bianchi turns it around foul. I'm not sure that's where he wanted it, but it ended up there.
Yeah, but that's why he doesn't come inside. Doesn't throw very hard, and Bianchi hit that one hard but hooked it foul.
So Haren went through a stretch where he was about the most dependable starter in the big leagues. 8 times he's made at least 30 starts. 7 times he has pitched at least 200 innings in a season. Came up with the Cardinals. He actually pitched in the World Series as a reliever with the Cardinals in 04. He was sent to Oakland. Ended up in Arizona. The Diamondbacks traded him to the Angels. His contract ran out, and then he signed with the Nationals. Interesting, though, Haren, despite all of those innings, he's only been on the disabled list twice. That stint on the DL back in June, just the second time ever he's been on the DL. Last year was the first time he ever went on the disabled list. Had a back injury. He's had a nice career, and many are wondering if there's anything left.
Adam LaRoche probably in that meeting with Dan Haren saying, hey, worry about the hitter. In a nice way, I would imagine. Didn't say it quite that way. Don't worry about this guy at first. Spending too much time with him. Go get the hitter.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Bianchi. And he's hanging tough. Yeah, a lot of deep counts for the Brewers today. And therefore, a very high pitch count early for Dan Haren.
Yeah, both pitchers have had high pitch counts. And a lot of 3-ball counts. That one right off the end of the bat, and Bianchi able to stay alive.
This is pitch number 14 already of the inning. He tried to get through an inning around 14, 15 pitches. Somewhere between 15 and 20 is good. Two and 2 on Bianchi, and he got him. Struck him out with one upstairs for the first out. Second strikeout for Haren. So 1 away. That'll bring up Betancourt. You see the cut fastball from Dan Haren.
And trying to keep everything down in the strike zone. Then he elevates the fastball. Looks good to the hitter, and they swing right through it. Even at only 88 or 89 miles an hour.
Betancourt has great numbers against Haren. A 407 hitter lifetime against him, and a pretty good sample size as well. He's 11 for 27 career against Dan Haren. And a lot of matchups in the American League.
Ron Rennick stacked his lineup with right-handed batters, and you would think that would be rather unusual. He's got 3 lefties on the bench. You look at the splits for Haren. Right-handed batters are hitting him at a 308 clip. Lefties 264.
You think that's because of the forkball?
The forkball perhaps doesn't throw as many to left-handed batters or right-handed batters. But it doesn't appear that's the case. I mean, he's throwing a lot of them to everybody. Haren's given up 14 of his 21 home runs to right-handed hitters.
He is the National League leader in home runs allowed. 21 homers allowed this year for Haren. Haren making just his 3rd appearance in his career at Miller Park. As Betancourt in the air to left for Harper, and there is out number 2. Davis retreats to first base. Now 2 are gone and the pitcher coming up.
Yeah, right off the end of the bat. He had a pretty good swing at it, but Haren gave him the breaking pitch, the slider, and got him on a weak fly to left.
So the man from Alabama, with Leonard Skinner as his walk-up music, ready to swing the bat. He does have a hit this year. Donovan Hand, 1 for 7. Quickly 0-2. Hand was a third baseman going to college, Jacksonville State University. That's where he played his college ball in Alabama. He's from Town Creek, Alabama. '27-year-old rookie, plowing his way through the Brewers minor league system and finally getting a chance in the big leagues this year. And down he goes on strikes. A couple of Ks in the inning for Haren. Brewers get a leadoff single and leave him stranded at first.
Hand going back to earth, and Kyle Lohse and Jonathan Lucroy were named the Brewers Player and Pitcher of the Month for the month of July. So on our AT&T Twitter poll, we're asking fans to weigh in on who had the more impressive month. Lohse, a great month for him. 6 games started, a 4-1 record, and a 2.25 ERA. No hotter bat than Jonathan Lucroy's, a 330 average for him with 7 home runs and 15 RBIs. And Rock, despite a great month by Jonathan Lucroy, your home run record stands. 9 home runs in a month, so you're still in the record books.
There you go.
Yes.
I certainly was hoping that Lucroy would break it.
You say that, but
I do. I mean it.
I disagree. I think you hope he tied it.
It's not a record that I even knew about. So why would I care if he broke it or not?
I'll vouch for you on that one. But I know your children were glad he didn't break it. And I know we were, because we get to bring it up every year.
Right.
Dan Haren leads off. Brewers trail 1-0 as we go to the 3rd inning. Our Charter Cable high-speed pitch. These 2 starters, not a whole lot of velocity coming from each. Haren living at 89. Donovan Hand's best fastball 91. And Haren lines out one down the right field line. That is a fair ball, a single for Dan Haren. He's always been a good hitter. And he is aboard to start the 3rd inning.
And just sticking that bat out there and tuck it inside that right field line. There's that 2-seam fastball, the sinker. And just kind of a flick of the wrist, not much body into it, but able to dump it over the head of Betancourt and down the line.
Dan Haren, a career .221 hitter. And he's on for the top of the order. Denard Span. Nationals have just 2 hits, both singles, and both to lead off innings. They got their run on a sacrifice fly last inning. Jason Worth singled, was advanced to second on a grounder, and then he stole third base, and that set up the Nationals very well. One and 2 on Span, the former Twin. Nationals have a couple of former Twins. They've been good trade partners in the past. Their catcher, Wilson Ramos, started his career with Minnesota. Twins didn't think there was much playing time behind the plate with Joe Mauer. They traded him a few years back, and Span the same as Justin Hicks was coming up, and there's a swing and a miss, and Span is down on strikes. That is number 1 for Donovan Hand, the first out of the inning on his first strikeout. Well, Fox Sports is proud to partner with Johns Hopkins Medicine, one of this year's Fox Sports supports charities. Johns Hopkins is at the forefront of groundbreaking research into autoimmune disorders like MS and lupus. You can join us in the fight against autoimmune diseases. Donate now by visiting hopkinsmedicine.org/Fox. Bryce Harper with 1 out.
It's not a bad beard for a 20-year-old. Were you able to grow a beard when you were 20?
Nah, no chance. He had that kind of beard when he was 16, though. When he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a 16-year-old. Couldn't grow a beard like that right now.
Yeah, beards are becoming quite fashionable. So Phil Rosewitz, you see Phil on the field?
Yep.
Yesterday, the visiting clubhouse manager, full beard. I mean, that was in a span of what, 2 weeks? Not even.
I think he won some beard growing contest.
That's amazing. And had some thickness to it.
Yeah, I think he put stuff in there, you know, like,
I wonder if it's real.
Name tags. And
that was an impressive beard, well groomed too.
Yep. Phil Rosewitz. He's got a beautiful beard. as does Bryce Harper. We had Raleigh Fingers on last night, speaking of facial hair. And I felt bad because, you know, we've had Raleigh Fingers up here before, but when he comes in the booth, you're a little bit in awe, a little bit starstruck of the man himself, and also his handlebar mustache. And so I just kept staring at his mustache, and I just apologize to Raleigh for that. I don't really remember what he said throughout the night. Just checking out that mustache. It's perfectly groomed into that handlebar. Harper is out, 2 outs in the inning.
He came in here, he was starving. Remember, he came in, he had a hot dog with him, and
yeah. So I was, that's another thing. I was enamored of how he negotiates a hot dog around the handlebar. But when you get up close like that, you realize the handlebar is above the bottom lip. It's very well maintained out of the way for things like that.
But I felt bad for him. I mean, he comes all the way in here, doesn't get anything to eat.
He said he wanted a hot dog, so we got a hot dog.
Yeah, that was great seeing Robin and Raleigh yesterday. Got a chance to talk to him in the booth, and Hank Aaron down on the field.
Raleigh said he used to buy a brat, have somebody go buy a brat for him while he was in the bullpen at County Stadium before a save situation in the middle of the game.
Now, how many times did I tell you that happened down there? Now all of a sudden now it's a big deal because Raleigh Fingers said it.
Zimmerman sends that one deep to left field. Back is Davis, Gomez, and it's Davis who does his best. Gomez to end the inning. Chris Davis says, let some of the other kids play, Carlos. What a catch, crashing up against the wall. Is presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine.
Back here at Miller Park, Brewers trail 1-0, and the Brewers will hit the road after the game tomorrow, and then fans can come on out to Miller Park as your Milwaukee Brewers will host the Cincinnati Reds in a 4-game set Thursday, August 15th through Sunday, August 18th. For tickets, you can call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com. Chris Davis made an unbelievable catch against the wall to end the inning before, and Davis gets the start tonight because of his numbers. Now, right-handers tend to hit very well against Dan Heron. Ron Renneke saying that they hit like less than 200. So you in there for the bat, but makes this unbelievable catch against the wall, BA.
Yeah, it's got to make him feel good. His defense has always been in question. Does not have a strong throwing arm, but Davis able to get back on that. I think there was a little bit of confusion with Gomez. Gomez was racing over there to try to take another potential home run away. I don't think that ball would have gone out, but it certainly would have hit the top of the wall.
That's why I let him take it.
So Davis made the catch once Gomez realized it wasn't going to be a home run saver. I get it. Quick decision by Gomez.
Yeah.
That was a nice catch, though, and after he singled in the second inning. Roenicke having a chat with Donovan Hand and maybe talking about the base runners in the second inning, the double steal that led to the run. Ricky Weeks cuts and misses, and down he goes on strikes. So 4 strikeouts for Dan Haren.
They came inside, and this was by design. Fastball up and in. Ricky tried to hold up, but clearly went through with a swing, and not quite sure why home plate umpire Chris Conroy didn't call that a strike. That was a full swing.
Here's Aoki now. Nori is really working hard to learn the English language, and I noticed it today. And typically when you communicate with Nori Aoki, you go through his translator Kosuke Anaji, and Kosuke is always with him. And so I asked Kosuke a question to ask Nori, and Nori responded. He answered, nodded that he understood the question before the translation.
He's learning.
I said that was impressive, and he smiled, and he's been working at it. It's impressive to learn a second language, and to do it, you know, Aoki, that one is a foul ball, just missed the line.
I guess he's almost forced to, understand the English language. He understands it, I guess, before and better than he speaks it. I guess that's the way it goes, and that one just missed the line by a couple of inches.
Yeah, just missed Zimmerman's glove as well. I give Aoki a lot of credit, though, to take on this kind of challenge prior to last season, to come to the United States. He always wanted to play Major League Baseball. He has embraced the American culture, certainly the Milwaukee culture. He really enjoys living here. But think about it, this guy was a superstar in Japan. Superstar. Could barely walk down the streets in Japan. Rendon gobbles it up, takes care of Aoki for the second out.
I guess he wanted to challenge himself to, the best baseball in the world, and that's why a lot of these guys do that. I mean, they don't have to come over here. It's not a money issue, and they want to come over here to the big leagues and see how they stack up amongst, Major League Baseball players.
He's always so effusive in his praise about Milwaukee, and every time you ask him about it. And just had a second child, a baby born here in Milwaukee. And we were asking him, what's that like for you to have a child born in the United States? He goes, oh, it's great. We wanted the child to be born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We think that's going to be, such a cool thing for that child's life. And they had the option to go back to Japan and have the baby there, but he's all in, and that's a great thing. He's been a terrific player for the Brewers the last couple of years, and under contract for next season as well. Fair ball. LaRoche beats Segura to the bag, and that is a very quick inning for Dan Haren. 3 in the books at Miller Park. 1-0 Nats. Rendon. We head to the fourth inning. It is the season of the whiff. For every strikeout across MLB during the 2013 season, a $1 donation will be made to the RBI National Program. And MLB fans and local RBI leagues can also take part in the season of the whiff on Twitter all season long, helping earn money for local RBI programs across the country. Just go to @Brewers, use the hashtag whiff every time you see a strikeout. And in our Head and Shoulders whiff tonight, Donovan Hand has one strikeout. It came against Denard Span last inning. After giving up a leadoff single, retired the next three in order. And we head to the fourth. Each club with 2 hits. The Nationals on the board with a run. As Wirth slices one foul. He looks like he is in a very comfortable groove at the plate right now.
Yeah, hitting the ball to the opposite field. I mean, had 2 hits last night. I should say 3 hits, 2 of them in the right field. Coming off a very good month of July. Led the National League in RBIs in July with 22. Hit almost 370.
And speaking of beards, as if the beard here is currently sporting is impressive enough. The one that he had when he took his photo for the beginning of the season program, the one that's on the giant scoreboard wherever he goes. Now that is a beard, as that one shoots by Ricky Weeks, and a base hit for Jason Wirth. Well, he is swinging it well right now. His second hit of the day and his 5th already.
Yep, staying on the baseball nicely, not trying to pull it. You know, 5th hit already in the 2 games, and 4 of them now have come either to center field or to right field.
So that'll bring up LaRoche. That is another leadoff hit for the Nationals, their 3rd in as many innings. And LaRoche into left. Davis almost in his tracks for out number 1. We'll see if Wirth tries to steal a base here with Ian Desmond at the plate. We saw Ron Renicky having a chat with Donovan Hand last inning about the second inning. Looked like they were talking about base running and paying attention to the base runners. And you know, a guy that has pitched in 1-inning stints for a good part of his career over the last few years. He hasn't been a full-time starter, Hand, since the 09 season in Double-A. Since that year, he's only made 4 starts, as a matter of fact, until this season.
You don't have to spend a lot of time looking at runners. I mean, looking in, looking back. You just don't be predictable in your delivery. You know, runners will go out there, second base, first base, they'll start counting 1/1000, 2/1000. You have the same pattern over and over again. They'll just take off, and it looked as though what Wirth did at second base. Maybe vary your delivery a little bit, the time between, you know, you get into the stretch and deliver the baseball.
Now, Wirth doesn't run that often. The Nationals as a team don't run that much. But when Wirth does go, he makes it. He's 5 for 5 this year, including a stolen base tonight. Desmond on the ground. Segura to Weeks. And a good throw across, a double play. And Donovan Hand works around a leadoff single. Wirth stays put, and the Nationals bounce into a 6-4-3 twin killing to end the inning.
fans coming out to Miller Park in August should bring their appetites because all month long, fans will eat free at each August home game. Fans will receive a $10 voucher valid for food, drink, tickets, and merchandise. For details, visit brewers.com/eat-free. This is part of the Brewers Fans First initiative. And you saw Donovan Hand in the dugout there. Ron Renneke feels he's been successful both as a bullpen guy and as a starter because of his ability to mix pitches, change speed. Says he's a strike thrower with all of his pitches when he's on top of his game. Feels that the more aggressive the lineup, the better Hand will do.
Well, and let's hope that is the case tonight. The Nationals are a pretty free-swinging ball club as a group. And Hand can be very economical. Obviously, when he stays in the windup, he works very quickly. Things slow down a little bit when he gets in the stretch, as it does with most pitchers. He's given up just one run. That was that sac fly in the second inning. He's through 4. One gone as Lucroy lines out, and Gomez at the plate. Brewers had runners at the corners in the first. Had a leadoff double in the first and could not score. Stranded a leadoff single in the second. Since that single by Davis to start the second inning, Dan Haren has retired 7 straight.
Their hardest hit ball off of Haren so far tonight, that Ricky Weeks double in the first inning. Even the ground ball by Davis that got into left field wasn't hit all that hard. And we look at that line drive that Lucroy just hit. It was a fork ball that he was out in front a little bit.
Well, Haren gives up a lot of home runs, and the Brewers in the top 5 in the league in that category. Gomez leading the club with 17 on the Powerball home run leaderboard. Carlos down on strikes, swinging out of his helmet with 2 strikes and 2 gone. Strikeout number 5 for Haren. And speaking of a guy who can pick apart a free swinging lineup, that's exactly what Haren is doing to Milwaukee.
Yeah, that fork ball, everything away. He really hasn't thrown too many fastballs or any of his pitches inside. And when he does, that's ordinarily when he gives up the home runs, but has pretty good command of all 3 tonight so far.
Well, Chris Davis has one of the 2 Brewers hits, he and Weeks. Ricky's was a double. Davis singled through the hole between short and third after a long battle at the plate. Got it into a full count, finally delivered a hit. Made a nice catch earlier tonight, leaping up against the wall. Very interesting personality, Chris Davis. And a big swing to get it to 2-2. Talking to Davis about the difference in the minor leagues and the major leagues, you know, specific things that he's noticed. And the first thing out of his mouth, he said, the lights. You can see the ball in the outfield, especially. You just see the ball so much better.
Of course, that's neutralized by the ribbon boards and the glass panels that you don't have to deal with in the minor leagues.
And the big league pitching.
Right, big league pitching and the crowd, the third deck.
You can see the nastiness a lot better.
But the lights are tremendous. It's almost like daytime out there at night.
Well, and Davis draws the walk, so he's been on twice, and the Brewers have a runner on with 2 outs. Well, don't miss a new episode Sunday of West Coast Customs, starring famed customizer Ryan Friedlinghouse and his crew. Jeff Bianchi with 2 away. A strikeout victim in the second inning. Bianchi also had a long at bat against Dan Haren. And you wonder in a spot like this if Roenicke would put the runner in motion, a chance to maybe steal a base or a hit and run, try to generate some offense with 2 outs.
And Haren's pretty quick to home plate. I mean, he holds runners pretty well. Very conscious of holding them close over there.
Now those fans of Chris Davis, when they saw him come through the Midwest League when he was playing for Wisconsin, he was a base stealer at that time. He stole 17 that year. As Bianchi hits that one hard into center field, but Span is there for the out, and the inning is over. So Dan Haren with 4 shutout innings, 1-0 Nationals to the 5th.
Who could replace Tom Gorsolani in his start on Wednesday. Johnny Hellweg of the National Sounds is making a case for himself. In his last 3 starts, he has gone 3-0. 18 innings pitched, shutout innings, 13 strikeouts, just 12 walks, so he's certainly making a case for himself. He's gone 10-4 on the season with an ERA of just over 2.2. So BA, we mentioned he could be in the mix of guys to replace Gorsolani.
Yeah, that's a guy who you know is anxious to get back to the big leagues and show what he can do. It was a rough couple of weeks for him here in the major leagues, Johnny Hellweg, and things were spinning fast for him like it does for a lot of young players and especially young starting pitchers. But you got to give him a lot of credit, Rock. He went back down to AAA and he has dominated that league since returning.
Yeah, and I think that the Brewers you know, they may want to keep him down there. You don't know. I don't know what the Brewers are thinking about who to replace Gorsolani, but you know, there's one thing that, you know, have good success down in the minor leagues, come up here and then get hit again. I wonder if the Brewers want to risk that at this point in the season. Keep him down there, continue to have success, and you never know, you might see him in the starting rotation next year.
Anthony Rendon at the plate. He leads off for the Nationals and hits that one hard right at Weeks. Room service hop for Ricky Weeks, and Rendon is retired. Our carsoup.com email the booth question tonight comes from Jeff in Heartland. Do you think Carlos Gomez could win a Gold Glove this year?
He's certainly a candidate. There's no question about that when you consider his offense and what he can do defensively. And you look at you know, fielding percentage in center field. The guy in center field for the Nationals has not committed an error this year. I think it might be between the two of them. Nice Gold Glove for the Brewers. Robin Yount back in '82.
And the last outfielder and the only outfielder to win a Gold Glove was Sixto Lezcano back in '79. Ramos into deep left field. Way back. Gomez and Davis, and that ball's gone. Wilson Ramos makes it 2-0 Washington. His 7th home run of the year and his 2nd against the Brewers.
Yep, 1-0 fastball, and Ramos waited back and got under it, but strong enough to carry it out of here into the Brewers bullpen. Actually, slider. A 1-ball, no strike slider. Ramos didn't get it on the sweet spot, but strong enough, even though he got under it, to knock it out of here.
Now Ramos missed the good part of the early schedule as hand brushes back Herron and actually got a piece of him. So a hit batter hits the pitcher. Must have got him on the jersey sleeve. It was certainly a glancing blow, and Herron gave his mound opponent quite a glance on his way out.
Yeah, saying, what are you doing? I'm sorry you got a hit my last time up, but I'm not sure how I did it myself. Not sure where the pitch was. It didn't look like a fastball.
Span takes a ball.
Just got away from him. Maybe it was a fastball.
Well, the runner's in on a home run. Span a pop-up, foul territory. Bianchi will give it a look. Just out of his reach. Span will see another pitch. Well, that home run by Wilson Ramos, as you see how close Bianchi came, just out of his reach, flush on the rail, which is a lot better than the camera. Span, a tough guy to double up. And that one's in the air. Foul territory. Lucroy's got it for out number 2.
Hey, fans, for just $20, see the Brew Crew and the Zoo get one Terrace Reserve ticket to select Brewers games and one 2013 adult admission ticket to the Milwaukee County Zoo, plus a free beverage tumbler. For tickets, visit brewers.com/zoo.
Two gone for Donovan Hand. And here's Bryce Harper. On the first pitch, Betancourt stabs one. And Harper is retired. He's 0 for 3. Donovan Hand giving up a run on a solo homer by Wilson Ramos. Good play to end the inning by Uni B. Brewers coming up down a pair.
and Ramos with a solo home run in the top of the 5th. Hey, tonight's time of the game winner, Bob's Old Chicago in Partyville, Wisconsin. Now, what kind of that's got to be a great place. Partyville, Wisconsin. That's west of Beaver Dam. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Reminds me of the late Jack Party, former NFL coach. Remember him?
Yeah.
Partyville. I can't think of a better spot in Wisconsin than that. We might have to go visit them this offseason. Uni Betancourt leads off and a base hit down the line. Harper racing to cut it off. Betancourt's going to challenge him. The throw to second, and Betancourt is a dead duck.
Oh, how about that throw? My goodness. Well, he busted it over there to the line, and he scooped it up and threw a strike to second base, and that wasn't even close. That was an impressive throw.
Now, the whole play was impressive just to get to that ball to put himself in that position. Betancourt was busting it out of the box. He's thinking double all the way, and Harper fired a strike.
Not even close. Got there quickly. He surrounded it, got his momentum towards second, and a beautiful throw.
He plays hard. I tell you what, he is an ultra competitor, as all these guys are for the most part. To be in the big leagues, you have to have a certain level of competitor in you, but Harper is on another level in that category. Guys running into walls, and
that 20-year-old body, I mean, that makes a difference when you get to August.
Yeah, check this out here and how hard he goes after this baseball.
And he's thinking around the throw already. He just circles it, gets himself in position, and one hops it all the way in the air, actually, to second base. And not even close. Tremendous throwing arm.
That's as good as it gets for an outfielder. And one more on Bryce Harper. We check in with Sophia.
Well, I asked Carlos Gomez to compare how the two play, and he said he would give himself the edge defensively. He said, yeah, we both like to play aggressively. We'll play the wall when we have to. He feels that he does a little bit more conservatively, believe it or not. He says, Harper's a young guy. He's still trying to figure it all out, but he gave Harper the edge offensively, saying he's been really impressed with how disciplined he is at the plate, especially so early in his career. Gomez said, that's something I couldn't figure out for a while, and I'm still working on that this season. So it was interesting to get his take. Two all-star outfielders.
Yeah, and they spent a little time together in New York at the All-Star game. Ricky Weeks, a fly ball shallow right. Rendon, a little wobbly, but he's able to make the catch. That was in fair territory. And that will retire the side. So Bryce Harper hitless at the plate tonight, but showing off his arm. And Herron has a shutout going. Well, earlier tonight, our Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery. Check out this play by Segura. Barehanding a slow roller by Denard Span. And you're looking at two of the great young players in the game tonight in Bryce Harper and Gene Segura. Both have made an impact defensively.
Yeah, that play right there. First play of the game. That's why these guys spend a good 20-25 minutes getting loose before the game, throwing and stretching out. If you don't do much of that stuff, I mean, that's a good way to blow out a hamstring in a play like that.
And a couple of nice plays tonight. Chris Davis made a leaping catch up against the wall, robbing Ryan Zimmerman of extra bases. That was back in the third inning. And Zimmerman batting for the third time. He is 0 for 2. Wilson Ramos with a home run. The other RBI came from Anthony Rendon, a sac fly. So the 7th and 8th place hitters in the Washington lineup producing the runs tonight. And with 75 pitches as he works in the 6th. Longest start he's ever made in the big leagues is 6 innings. That was his last start against the Rockies.
He's pitched well. I mean, he has a chance to get through the 7th inning.
Took him just 79 pitches at Coors Field to get through 6 innings in his last start. Those are the numbers. 3 earned runs across 6. Brewers lost that game 6-5. And he strikes out Zimmerman for the first out. And Zimmerman is 0 for 3. Top 3 in the lineup for the Nationals are a combined 0 for 9.
Not many players in this game have done much offensively. There's a good slider to get Zimmerman on strikes. His second strikeout. It's a very good start for Donovan Hand tonight.
Jason Worth on the first pitch. Bianchi, nice pickup. Out number 2. Now Paul Imig and Fox Sports Wisconsin have you covered with all the news, notes, and photos from tonight's Packers Family Night scrimmage. Got a big crowd up there at Lambeau Field. Two outs for LaRoche, who is 0 for 2. Adam LaRoche is a big Duck Dynasty fan, and I know that because he had the cast of Duck Dynasty visiting him in D.C. That ball's hit well, way back in left. Davis at the wall. It's gone. And another home run for the Nationals. This time a 2-out home run, and it's 3-0. And LaRoche now with 15 for the season.
And his first hit in the series. Taking that baseball to the opposite field. Fastball from Hand, and LaRoche goes right with it, gets it on the sweet spot. That's a nice level swing, gets through the baseball, and it carries out here. Now 3-0. Donovan's given up 5 home runs in his last 2 starts.
In the left, Davis. And Desmond is retired on the first pitch to end the inning. But the Nationals add to their lead. Now 3-0. Brewers coming up. Please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time.
Hey, it's the 40th anniversary of Bernie Brewer. Bring the family out to Miller Park August 16th through the 18th for birthday weekend at Bernie's, presented by Southwest Airlines. Visit brewers.com/Bernie40 for details.
From Bernie to Bernardina. Roger Bernardina taking over in right field for Jason Worth. And we'll have to wait on a report from the Nationals clubhouse on that. Jason Worth 2 for 3, grounded out last inning on the first pitch from Donovan Hand, and then is out of the game. So Bernardina takes over, gives him a lot of speed out there as Aoki takes strike one. Dan Herron working on a 3-hit shutout. Brewers have scored 1 run in this series. A home run by Lucroy last night in the 8th inning. That's been it. Nationals getting 2 solo home runs tonight. Wilson Ramos and Adam LaRoche.
Look out.
Aoki is 0 for 1. He got a sacrifice bunt in the first inning. Grounded out his last time up. Brewers need some base runners, trying to get a little offense rolling here. They had a great chance in the first, a leadoff double by Weeks, then had runners at the corners. Gomez lined out, and the Brewers really haven't threatened since. They have not put a runner into scoring position since that first inning. Tough hop, fielded nicely by LaRoche, and Aoki is retired.
He's got good hands over there at first base. He's a solid defensive first baseman.
That'll bring up Gene Segura, who is 0 for 2. Yeah, the Nationals are hoping that LaRoche will catch fire the rest of the year. He's coming off a rough month offensively in July. But he's homered tonight. Always gives you great defense. It was a big part of their division title season last season. Segura, high fly ball, deep center field. That spanned with room for the out. Just missed it on the bat. 2 up, 2 down for Herron.
It's kind of the way it's gone tonight for the Brewers. When they feel as though they have a pretty good pitch to hit, they're most often down on the end of the bat. You know, not so much on the trademark, but on the end, take good swings, but it just doesn't go anywhere.
So 2 quick outs, and here is Lucroy now. Dan Herron disrupting the timing of the Brewers tonight with an assortment of off-speed pitches. You had Lucroy fooled that time. 0-2 the count. Herron played his college ball at Pepperdine. He's from Southern California. And the Angels thought that was going to be a great homecoming. He had a terrific year in 2011 with the Angels. Had a couple of disappointing season last season. Everybody was surprised the Diamondbacks traded Herron. They got a nice haul in return. Angels have misfired on a number of big names. And Lucroy fouls it off.
Yeah, very disappointing couple of years for the folks out there in Anaheim. Wow, they spent a lot of money the last couple of years and brought in some big time talent and have nothing to show for it.
You know, when that trade was done with the Angels for Dan Herron, when you counted all the players to be named later, it included Patrick Corbin, Joe Saunders, and Tyler Skaggs, one of their best young pitching prospects. Lucroy fly ball to right. Bernardina, his first chance, no problem. 3 up and 3 down. Herron is rolling along here. A 3-hit shutout, 6 in the books. Have the lead after winning yesterday. Don't forget our Brewers Live postgame is coming up after our ball game today. Craig Kashawn and Davey Nelson, and our postgame instructional tonight, breaking down the techniques and strategies of the game. It's all coming up. Brewers Live. So Hand with 6 innings, 3 runs. He's given up 5 hits. And he's trying to hang around long enough to see if his offense can get it together tonight. Dan Herron has shut out the Brewers on a 3-hitter. Bottom of the order coming up. This is the part of the order that has done the damage in this game. As Rendon leads off, first ball swinging. The Yankee, no problem, out number 1.
And you certainly hope that the Brewers are going to be able to get some runs for Donovan tonight, because he has thrown a dandy. Other than the 2 solo home runs, he has been efficient with his pitches. Had a rough second inning, high pitch count, but other than that, he's managed his pitch count well. 81 pitches is all. Make that 82.
Well, the Brewers are averaging about 3 runs a game for Hand in his starts. And he is winless. He is 0-2. In Hand's 5 starts as a Brewer, the team has lost 4 of those 5. One ball, 1 strike on Wilson Ramos, who homered in the 5th. Had him fooled on a breaking ball. Ramos gives the Nationals great power at the bottom of the lineup. Hit his 7th home run in the 5th inning. He's playing in just his 34th game of the season. Had knee surgery last year. Slow roller 2 weeks, has plenty of time. And there is out number 2. And now the pitcher, Herron, will bat, who has not been retired tonight.
Next batter, the pitcher, number 15, Dan Herron.
Looking ahead to the Brewers' 7th. It'll be Gomez, Davis, and Bianchi coming up. And not much going on against Dan Herron tonight.
Man, it doesn't get any easier once you get into that Nationals bullpen. You got Clippard in the 8th, Soriano in the 9th. Those guys have been pretty good all year.
Herron has singled and he's been hit by a pitch. Oh, that was right on the knuckles. 1-2 the count. That couldn't have felt good.
That breaking ball from Donovan Hand and ends up on the inner part of the plate, actually off the inside corner and right off the handle.
I don't blame him for not swinging. It's the opposite of the Beach Boys song. It's bad vibrations when you hit one off that area.
Probably still can't feel his top hand.
And he takes another one. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Herron's been a tough guy to shake tonight. Full count, 2 outs. Gets a piece of the umpire, Chris Conroy. Good crowd tonight, nearly 36,000 on hand. Brewers are trying to give them something to cheer about. Hasn't been a whole lot of offense the last 2 nights. Going to have another big crowd tomorrow. Testament to the great fans of Milwaukee and all of Wisconsin. A rough season like this, but still plenty of fun at the ballpark. Got him. Herron chased ball 4. So a 3-up, 3-down inning for Donovan Hand. Brewers are coming up down 3.
The bottom of the 7th, the results of our AT&T Twitter poll tonight asking Brewers fans to weigh in between the pitcher and player of the month of July. 75% went with the bat of Jonathan Lucroy. 7 home runs for him during the month, 15 RBIs. He picked up right where he left off with a solo home run last night. The Brewers' only tally, and Kyle Lohse will pitch tomorrow against the Nationals rookie Taylor Jordan. Over his last 12 starts, 10 of them have been quality starts. He's gone 6-1 with an ERA of 2.29. So we'll see if he can continue the run that he's been on, BA.
Yeah, he's been a great mentor to some of these young pitchers for the Brewers. Kyle Lohse, congratulations to he and Lucroy for their July honors. Lucroy made the last out last inning, so it's Gomez who leads off, and Dan Haren starts him with strike 1. Haren had 92 pitches.
A lot of activity in that Nationals bullpen just in case there's any signs of trouble.
And that gives you an idea of where Dan Haren's season has taken him. I mean, there was a day as he strikes out Gomez. That was a day Dan Haren is pitching like this into the 7th inning. You wouldn't even think about getting the bullpen up, but he's had a rough year this year. He's coming off a win his last time out, and he is dialed in once again tonight. Dan Haren is through 6 1/3 now and racking up the strikeouts against Milwaukee. That is now 6 Ks.
He was only in trouble in 1 inning. That was the first. Leadoff double by Ricky, then a walk after 2 outs. The Brewers left a couple of minutes on base. Other than that, the Brewers have not been able to do much offensively. It's been relatively easy for Haren tonight.
And Davis is out on the first pitch he sees. Not a great throw by Zimmerman, but 2 up and 2 down. Haren was laboring in the first 2 innings. A lot of deep counts, a lot of base runners, but he has been very economical since, and he has 2 outs in the 7th inning on just 4 pitches, and that includes a strikeout.
Look at the 5th inning. 6 pitch 5th inning.
Here's Bianchi. Strike 1, almost forced to take a pitch. Bouncing ball to third, gets by Zimmerman. And Bianchi takes the big turn, and look at Harper throw to first. Oh my goodness, just for the fun of it. That's probably a risk you don't want to take, but Harper.
That'll probably be a base hit for Bianchi, but certainly a play that you see Zimmerman make over and over again. Decided to play it on the backhand, just booted it. And not sure why you make this throw, but Bryce Harper trying to make something out of nothing, and air mails it all the way to first base.
All right, so Betancourt at the plate now. Well, you can make that throw, but you better make sure that it ends up in somebody's glove.
And not only that, you can get deked on that. You guys starts heading to first base. You see the throw coming in there, and he just walks to second. Makes no sense to make that throw to first.
Now Betancourt has had a great career against Dan Haren. Has a hit tonight, hitting over 400 lifetime against him. And the Brewers need a big hit. He could use a quick strike. Betancourt is now 12 for 29 career against Haren. That's a .414 batting average.
And ordinarily Betancourt is a good fastball hitter, particularly a high fastball. Not sure if Uni has seen too many fastballs for strikes tonight.
Fox Track shows you everything away against Betancourt, and Haren has fallen behind 3-1. Pitcher spot due up next. Betancourt trying to get that spot to the plate. That ball's hit well to left. Harper is over, and he's got it for the out. Just missed it. Inning ends. Haren's 7th shutout. Still 3-0. And Herron has been the story for the Nationals. It's a very good pitching staff in D.C. and Herron, who has been the weak link for much of the season, 7 shutout. Wilson Ramos hit a solo home run, one of 2 homers in the game for Washington. That was in the 5th inning. That made it 2-0. And then Adam LaRoche to the opposite field. That was with 2 outs in the 6th. And that made it 3-0. And that's where we sit as we move to the 8th. And a double switch for Ron Renicky. Betancourt made the last out, so Francisco will come in to play first base for Betancourt. And Rob Wooten on the mound, making his Miller Park debut after a successful road trip.
Yeah, he looked good. He picked up his first major league win on Tuesday in game 1 of the doubleheader with a perfect 6th inning. Struck out a couple of batters. Last pitched on Wednesday against the Cubs and tossed a scoreless inning. He's been good throwing strikes. 1 walk, 4 punch outs, and 5 in the 3rd inning.
Another player who is getting a shot in the big leagues for the first time. One of 12 rookies on the Brewers roster. And Rob Wooten taking over for Donovan Hand, who went 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned, and is on the hook for the loss. A Span flies out to left for out number 1. Span is 0 for 4 as he's been moved back to the leadoff spot. Tomorrow is the finale. Miller Lite, what's on tap? Kyle Lohse against Taylor Jordan.
You see 1 and 3 at 331 earned run average. They're looking the Nationals looking to shut him down at the end of August. Trying to control his innings between the big leagues and the minor leagues this year. Nationals like to do that, don't they?
Yeah, they did it with Jordan Zimmerman 3 years ago, and most famously last year with Steven Strasburg. Saw Mike Rizzo in the ballpark, their general manager. Actually, he's been elevated. He got a nice contract extension.
Yes, he did.
Mike
a couple
Rizzo.
of days ago.
Yeah. Had the good fortune of drafting Strasburg and Harper, had the number 1 overall pick. Unfortunately, you have to finish in last place. The worst record to get that pick, but
they made it count,
didn't they? They made the most of it.
Yes, they did. 2 years.
2 stars in Harper and Strasburg. And Harper's already been to the All-Star game. Harper is hitless tonight, 0 for 3. Homered last night. Playing in his 72nd game. Missed a good part of the schedule with a knee injury. Running into a wall. Ricky Weeks takes care of Harper for the out. 2 up, 2 down for Rob Wooten. Now Wooten very much in the Dan Herron mold as far as his stuff, and he throws a split finger fastball that it acts more like a forkball. I mean, it's more of a changeup pitch and a swing and miss pitch, and he's got a lot of miles out of that splitter.
Yep, slider and a fastball. Of course, he's got a little bit more velocity than Herron, but I guess Rob Wooten would love to have the career of a Dan Herron. And he's another guy. He's coming up from the minor leagues. He just pounds his strike zone, continues to throw the ball over the plate. Good quality strikes early in the count.
Ryan Zimmerman waves and misses.
It's not guaranteed you're going to have success when you throw a lot of strikes, but I'll guarantee you don't throw a lot of strikes. It's guaranteed to not have success. You give yourself a chance when you throw it over the plate, get ahead in the count, and you get hitters to swing at that. Pitch is off the plate. I love that Mike Maddox comment. I mean, he made that statement. Pitchers throw strikes early so you don't have to throw them late.
Yeah.
Talking about in a sequence to a hitter early in the count. Get ahead in the count and hitters will chase. We see that from Donovan Hand. We see that now with Wooten.
27-year-old rookie Wooten. He played his college ball at North Carolina, part of a College World Series team at UNC. His workload lately, got a victory against the Cubs on Tuesday. Pitched in all 3 games of that series. There was a 4-game series, but all 3 days of that series. Made his debut against the Rockies, and his first major league strikeout was against Todd Helton. Wooten was the closer down in AAA Nashville. And because of the command that he showed down there, with all the injuries and the available spots, he got the chance. He had 20 saves this year in Nashville. Cannot shake Ryan Zimmerman, however. Count remains at 1-2. Wooten's another guy that has put up great numbers in the minor leagues. Started in 08 out of North Carolina, so 5 seasons and a career .288 ERA. Zimmerman goes to the opposite field, pretty well hit. Aoki down in the corner, and he's got it for the out. 1-2-3 inning for Rob Wooten. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Running out of outs as they jump around. Part of the 36,000 in attendance, including Bernie. Let's take you around the league. We check in on the action in Pittsburgh. Jose Tabata, opposite field home run off former Brewer Jorge De La Rosa. That was in the bottom of the 4th inning. And it is 4-0 Pirates. Pittsburgh trying to get back to winning ways. Pittsburgh is the division leader. They've dropped a couple of games over the last 2 days, while the Cardinals have won, and St. Louis sitting there a half game back. Cincinnati 5.5 back. The Cardinals are playing the Reds tonight. Cincinnati leads 5-3 going into the 7th in Cincinnati. Tyler Clippard is the new man up for the Washington Nationals. Dan Herring goes 7 shutout, and for the 2nd straight night, Clippard appears in a game in a setup role.
Yeah, he's had a terrific season. 6-1 in a setup role. 189 earned run average. He pitched in the 8th inning in last night's ball game. Gave up a solo home run to Jonathan Lucroy. That was it. So Clippard in the 8th. It's Soriano in the 9th ordinarily. Brewers need some base runners.
Clippard came in last night with a 2-run lead. The Brewers actually put the tying run on. Clippard got out of it. Juan Francisco came in on the double switch. Will lead off. Francisco's first plate appearance of the night.
Well, it's Dan Haren with the fork ball tonight. You got Tyler Clippard with that very good changeup to follow Dan Haren.
Clippard spent some time in the closer's role last year as Drew Storen was coming back from injury. Saved 32 games last season. Their late inning relief hurt them down the stretch and into the postseason. They addressed that by signing Rafael Soriano. I tell you, I look at this Washington ball club and it does not look like a team that's 3 games under 500. I mean, they have all the pieces in place to be a contender. But if they're going to make any noise at all, they're going to have to go fast here. Francisco to Rendon. And one away.
Problem for the Nationals is that the Atlanta Braves don't lose. They've won 9 straight.
Yep.
They won tonight.
Yeah, and Washington is in danger of falling 12.5 back. Text question tonight. Ho Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin. Liam in West Dallas. Do you see Rob Wooten as a future closer in the big leagues?
I think first things first. I think Rob Wooten needs to have a good end of the season and get into spring training, make the ball club. We'll see what happens after that, but I think it's a little bit too early to be predicting those types of things.
Most ball clubs want that power arm at the end of games. Ground ball by Weeks. Desmond for out number 2. Power plays at the big league level. Not to say Wooten can't be a successful reliever. He has been since he's arrived to the major leagues.
But if you don't have that one special trick pitch or one dominating pitch, if you're not a hard thrower, it's very difficult for you. And Rob Wooten certainly, although he is very consistent, he can throw a number of pitches for strikes. He doesn't have that one put away pitch. Like a splitter or like a nasty curveball. Doesn't mean that he can't be successful in this level.
Well, there's a good changeup from Clippard. That's his signature pitch. Think about changeup closers. Obviously, Trevor Hoffman, the best ever.
There it is. Rolls off the 3 fingers and just chokes off the speed.
Doug Jones was very successful using the changeup in the big leagues for a window. And Wooten has the forkball, but I think that's his change of pace pitch. And there's another change of pace, and Aoki out in front, 2-2.
Frankie Rodriguez with the big changeup. He had a number of other pitches that he can get you with. There it is again. The middle finger and the ring finger, the only 2 that really are on the baseball.
Well, that's a great shot of how he releases that baseball, and to counter that changeup, the way he throws it straight over the top, it means he has to throw a straight over the top fastball. And that's the pitch that can get him in trouble if he's not hitting on his changeup. There's a changeup, and Aoki corkscrews into the ground. Strikes out a guy who rarely strikes out. 1-2-3 inning. The Brewers go quietly in the 8th.
Post game on the way, but Davey, our Marshfield Clinic shining moment of the game has to go to Donovan Hand. Really nice job again on the mound for Milwaukee.
Boy, he certainly did a wonderful job. 7 innings, 5 hits, gave up 3 runs, but I tell you, he was right on, and unfortunately, this offense is not scoring any runs for him.
7 strong innings. He gets the quality start for Milwaukee here tonight, but the Brewer offense got to get it going. 1 run in 17 innings in this series and only 2 total runs over their last 3 games. We'll cover it all Brewers Live coming up after the ball game, Brian.
All right, Craig and Davey, and it'll have to wait for another start for Donovan Hand to win his first ball game. Brewers are hoping to take him off the hook with a rally in the 9th. Rob Wooten back out there for his second inning. A 3-up, 3-down 8th. Roger Bernardina batting for the first time. He came in for Jason Worth. I have not heard an update on Worth, but he left this game 2 innings ago. Bernardina took over in right field after Worth grounded out in the 6th.
Nationals aren't much for information, are they?
Well, Jason Worth has had leg injuries to deal with all year, hamstring specifically, that had him on the disabled list. But no official report from the Nationals clubhouse. So it's Bernardina, 2-2 the count. LaRoche will follow, and then Ian Desmond. And a called strike 3. Bernardina looking to walk. And Wooten hit the edge. His first strikeout.
Well, catches the outside corner with a fastball that time, and there it is. Lucroy holding it nicely. Bernardina got caught looking. He might have had a beef. Look at pitch number 6. A little bit off the outside corner.
That falls under the too close to take category.
And the fact that he threw the bat and started to walk to first base. Umpires don't like that too much.
Now maybe if Joey Votto takes a pitch like that, he gets a walk. Maybe if Adam LaRoche takes one out there. Umpires hate when you say things like that. Well, we all know it's true.
You're going to get a visit from Bruce Fremming, for that.
LaRoche bounces out.
Says a strike's a strike no matter who's at bat. I don't buy it.
Don't buy it, Bruce. By the way, say hello to Rosemary Fremming, Bruce's wife. It's a good way to get him off your back. And she's the better half, no question, as Desmond flares one to right. So a 2-out single. Muscles one into right field to keep the inning alive for Rendon. In the Brewers' 9th, Gene Segura, Jonathan Lucroy, Carlos Gomez, Chris Davis, Jeff Bianchi, and then a pinch hitter.
That's 4 runs.
That's what I'm talking about. Nice. And who's going to come off the bench to provide the fireworks tonight? Rendon has an RBI tonight, a sac fly. That was back in the 2nd. Well, Donovan Hand goes 7 innings with 3 earned runs. Wooten trying to give Renicky 2. And after last night and the injury to Gorzelani, having to go deep into his bullpen, close play at first. Impressive that he could get through tonight with just 2 pitchers and 1 reliever. With 1 more out. Another close play at first. Wow. Wooten with a quick move to first.
They're very close, and he's just able to get back, trying to keep close, making sure he doesn't steal a base. Desmond, one of the few that will run.
And a base hit to center. So Rendon with his first hit of the night. Back-to-back singles with 2 outs.
And Rendon staying back and waiting on a breaking pitch up in the strike zone, bang it into center field. So Wooten worried a lot about Desmond, who's got 14 stolen bases on the season. Ends up hanging a breaking pitch, gives up a base hit.
Next batter, the catcher, Wilson Ramos.
Here is Wilson Ramos, who homered in the 5th. Gave the Nationals a 2-0 lead. Pretty big numbers for only 34 games. 7 homers, 24 RBIs. He and Kurt Suzuki, the 2 catchers with the Nationals. Ramos, the everyday guy. Suzuki normally catches Jordan Zimmerman, but last night Davey Johnson had Ramos catch. Zimmerman pitched well, got the win. Johnson trying to get some offense.
Yeah, Suzuki was 71 games under his belt. He was the guy catching every day while Ramos was on the DL. Terrific defensive catcher, Suzuki, but not much with the stick.
There's Suzuki coming to the Nationals from the A's last year. The 0-2. Line drive, foul. Well, Soriano preparing for a save opportunity. Looks pretty anxious about it too, doesn't he?
He's laid back. That's the way he looks when he's out on the mound too.
Another 0-2. Runners go, and a foul out of play. Right off the end of the bat. Wooten having a hard time finishing off Ramos.
Even Ricky Weeks standing right on top of the bag. Desmond takes off as if he wasn't even there.
Now for Rob Wooten, they'll be the first wave, and he's having a lot of success. But as the charts start to develop, the scouting reports develop, there'll be that wave of adjustment for him. Jammed him, bouncer to Bianchi. He'll go across to first. And Rob Wooten, 2 scoreless innings. He continues to pitch well. Last call for the Crew. They're down 3. To the bottom of the ninth we go at Miller Park. Nationals lead 3-0. Brewers have scored just 1 run in the 2 games so far, and just 9 hits combined. And the task doesn't get any easier with Rafael Soriano on the mound. The Nationals closer takes over the ninth after Clifford worked a scoreless 8th. Looking for his 28th save of the season.
Yeah, this 27 saves, good for 4th in the National League. He picked up number 27 in last night's game. 47th appearance overall. He's got 35 strikeouts and a little over 45 innings of work. He has given up 4 home runs. Basically, fastball slider for Soriano. He gets it up there about 92, 93.
Soriano coming to the Nationals from the Yankees. Ended up as the closer in New York last season. Took over for Mariano Rivera. Had a 45 save season with the Rays in 2010. He led the American League in saves that year, and then he signed a big contract to be the setup man with the Yankees. And the genius of the contract was, if something happened to Mariano Rivera and he ended up as the closer, and there was a kicker in the contract with a certain amount of saves or games finished, that he became a free agent. And that's why, after saving 42 with the Yankees last year, he was able to declare free agency. And
who would have thought?
He cashed it in.
Who would have thought it would have worked out that way?
I think the more reasonable thought would be that Rivera would retire before he would be injured.
Right.
Rivera will retire after this season. He's got Segura down in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Segura, a foul ball down the right field line. Attaboy. Good catch.
Got it all covered with that carve tonight.
Look at this play. Oh, that's mine. Yep.
Beauty.
That probably stung a little bit. He hardly feels it.
Got the cheers in the whole section. That'll make his night.
Another 1-2. And Segura back to the mound. Soriano zips one to first for the out. Now the Brewers in danger of being shut out here tonight. They have not been shut out since late April. Kershaw shut them out on April 28th at Los Angeles. That was a 2-0 shutout.
Tied for the fewest times being shut out in the National League are the Milwaukee Brewers, only 3.
And they've been the ones doing the shutting out since mid-June, with 9 of them.
Marlins have been shut out 12 times this year.
Lucroy at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Yeah, the Brewers responsible for a couple of those with the Marlins.
You would never know or imagine that the Atlanta Braves, who have played so well, have been shut out 11 times this year.
The team with the second best record in the major leagues. An all or nothing offense. Everybody's wondering how the Braves would respond after losing Tim Hudson, their leader. Broken ankle. And they've just gone on and won 9 in a row. Nationals need a win to keep 11.5 back of Atlanta. Brewers would like to send them 12.5 back. It's going to take a rally here with 1 out. Four hits tonight for Milwaukee. A leadoff double, and then 3 singles scattered. 2-2.
And that fastball very effective for Soriano. It's only 92 miles an hour tonight, but Brewers having a difficult time making contact. Here comes another fastball.
2-2. Bouncing ball to third. Zimmerman. And the throw in time for the out. 2 gone. 2 ground outs. Every time Zimmerman gets a ball in his glove, they hold their breaths in that dugout just because of his poor throwing motion and poor throwing season with 17 errors this year.
It just makes you hurt just watching him throw. I mean, he just can't get his arm over his head. You got to tip your hat. You got to give him the attaboys for being out there. Most guys would not be playing.
So the Brewers down to their last out. Gomez, the last hope with 2 away. Soriano hits the outside corner. Final game of the series tomorrow. Kyle Lohse, Taylor Jordan. Day game tomorrow. And then the Brewers are headed to San Francisco, Seattle, and Texas. As in Arlington, Texas for the Rangers. Fly ball to center. And the Brewers go quietly here tonight. Shutout for the first time since late April. The Nationals win the first 2 games of the series. And the Brewers have managed just 1 run in these 2 games. Dan Haren the winner. Donovan Hand goes to 0-3 with the loss. And Soriano saved number 28. Time for Brewers Live. We check in with Craig Kashawn standing by in right field. What do you have coming up for us, Craig?
Well, Brian, we're going to talk to the team and find out where this offense has gone. Has it been all starting pitching, setting the tone for the Nationals? We'll find out from Ron Roenicke and the Brew Crew coming up, plus our instructional as well. We continue our series on hitting in the cage. Brewers Live is next.